a long time.
You are live in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, it's John Townsend here with the show called Dr. Townsend Live. We do this webinar every week at this time from 2 to 3 Pacific on Wednesdays, and glad you're here. And for those of you who've been here a while, you know how we do this, and thank you for coming. For those of you who are new, welcome. This is basically a call-in show where you can talk about anything from kind of like what matters, like relationships with family, friends, spouse, dates, kids, parents, the professional world, what's my career, how can I make it? And we can do coaching for the career or organizational work, or things about matters of the emotions, anxiety, depression, trauma, a lot of that going on these days. We try to give you an answer that means something and it's applicable, but it also kind of goes deeper than the try harder kind of things, which never really helped me. There's always something driving this. Like Jesus said in the book of John, in John chapter 15, he said, a good tree makes good fruits and a bad tree makes bad fruits. So when you say, my relationship is awful, I don't feel good or whatever, for me to say, well, just to make things better, that's just addressing the fruit. And there's always a root underneath. There's a why. There's something going on deeper within that we can help you with. And I hope we can. So you can either call in and we'll talk to you. We don't talk on the video part. It's just me and my mug and you and your voice. But love to hear your voice. Well, I kind of prefer that because I get more information. It's more personal. But if you don't have a way to do that, because we're finding out a lot of people now that want a bunch of venues, they're doing it at work. And they say, I'm in my office. There's people walking by. I'm not going to talk to you, but I'll text it in. We can handle that too. And our great producer, Stacy's here. Hey, Stacy.
Hey, John. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being on the Dr. Townsend Live Show today. We're so glad that you are able to join us, and we have an hour to take your calls and help you with your questions. And so if you grab a pen and paper, if you haven't got the number already, the call-in number is 1-877-853-5257. Again, that number is 877-853-5257. And when you dial that number, you're going to enter a meeting ID code, and that code is 876-5437-2012. Again, meeting ID code 876-5437-2012. And so when you come into the waiting room, you will stay there until you're connected to John. And then once you're connected to John, you'll just give him your first name and where you're calling from. And since this is a call-in show only for privacy purposes, please disable your camera. And we will get started with the first caller.
And for those of you that are sort of fashionistas, this is not Stanford. This is North Carolina State University, the Wolfpack, where I went. So these are very important matters. So anyway.
Okay. Your first caller is up, John. Caller, you are live on the Dr. Townsend Live Show. Go ahead and tell us your first name and where you're calling from.
Hi, John. My name's Steven. I'm actually on the road now in Craig, Oklahoma, but I'm from the Oklahoma area here.
Thank you, Steve, and welcome to the program. So what's your question?
I guess I'm not familiar with the show and how to approach this, but I didn't have a specific question. I thought I might get your feedback or kind of phrase this as a question of I have a lot of things I'm struggling with, and maybe give you some of these things and see if you can help me work out some of my obstacles with myself or my
Sure, happy to do that. Actually, here's the question, Steve. Is when you ask Tim what's going on, then you say, how do I X? How is a question. We'll get to your question. Happy to help.
Okay. I just big thing for me is really struggling with relationships, feeling kind of isolated, and I'm feeling off and on depressed here over some specific things recently. But I really struggle with feeling like I have a good connection, relationships. And I've worked on it and tried to go to church for 20 years and stuff, and just haven't been able to overcome that feeling of not feeling real close or having good relationships with much of anyone.
All right. So if I understand it, then the question is, how can I have some really good, healthy relationships?
Yeah.
All right. Fair question, Steve. Sorry you're going through this. Isolation is a bad, bad thing. Kind of the first kind of probe is, what does it feel like to be isolated? How do your feelings tell you you're alone?
For me, I think it's kind of feeling hurt and feeling not able to be vulnerable. I've dealt with a lot of what I would consider a lot of very bullying behavior at specifically churches in this area, but being kind of singled out and stuff like that. But it's something I've dealt with for years. I consider myself a very unique, different person. I think that's part of it. But
what is it? What is it that you get picked on and bullied about? What is unique about you that you would stand out and be singled out, Steve?
I think it's changed over the years, but I think for a long time I hardly talked and was real quiet, and and then I think when I did, I kind of have worked on overcoming that. But I have a very unique background life, a lot of unique things. Growing up on a farm, living as fugitives for several years, and living without electricity and water. And,
wait, you said you were a fugitive?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a neat story. DHS took us kids, and my mom and dad took us back, so we kind of hid out for a few years until they caught up with us again.
Wait a minute, Steve. This is kind of important developmentally. I'm kind of hearing you a bit, but the sound is a little bit scratchy for me. So,
okay,
you mom and dad and fugitives. Can you tell me again?
DHS had taken us kids, my brother and sisters and I, and my mom and dad had taken us back, and kind of went and hid out for a few years until they caught up with us.
Wait a minute. Slow it down. I'm really sorry to hear this. So DHS took custody of y'all, you and your sibs, mom and dad, for some reason, and your mother got you again and took you back with her, and you guys were on the run away from DHS for some period of time.
Yes.
Why did they take y'all?
It was a bruise on my sister's shoulder, and she went to school with that, and turned into a very rushed, and it was a very, to me, abusive or something. I would call it. I don't want to get into the details of how they treated us kids, the DHS system, but
okay, so but you don't agree with the DHS's decision. You think your mom was a good mom?
Yeah, I think, yeah, and we were much more safe and better taken care of. My sister was almost strangled to death at about 6 years old in the facility we were put in. So.
Yeah. Okay, how long were you on the run?
I think it was probably 3 or 4 years. We continued to live there at that farm that way for about 7 years. But
and so from the time you were taken to DHS to the time they found you again, how many years are we talking, and how old were you?
I really can't tell you, John. I really have a hard time with the timeline of my life on much of anything. But
were you a teenager or less than a teenager, Steve?
This started when I was I'm 8 years old, and I think they caught up to us when I was maybe 12, 13.
Okay, and then they put you back. Then they put you back into government care, a foster home or something.
I don't believe so.
Like when they found you, did they let you stay with your mom, or did they say we're taking over again? This is so disruptive, Steve.
I think we might have spent a short time with my grandma or grandpa and went through some court stuff and went back home the second time. Yeah. I think.
All right. Okay. Well, you said I've been picked on because I've been quiet and I have a unique background. And Steve, you've been through some things that a lot of people no one should ever go through it. And one of the things that does, this sort of disruption between environments and chaos and court about that, it causes what we call attachment disruption. And attachment disruption means it's an inability to learn how to get close because close doesn't feel safe. Close feels dangerous. It feels scary. It feels risky. And there's just no surprise as to why you don't feel very connected. That's the developmental history, Steve.
Yeah, there's a lot more about me. I just might come across to sounding bragging or something, but I've just set up a unique situation. I've been held hostage and involved in a mass shooting at a park, a kind of parade thing here when I was about 6 years old, and just different stuff like that too. So I later on in life there was a lot of abuse in my family when things got out of hand with drugs and stuff like that. So
okay. So you've had major traumas and major losses. So let's talk about the now, because one of the first things you're going to, I mean, the reason you called is a huge part of what you are going to need. Have you ever sought out a psychotherapist, a good psychologist?
No, I've thought about it more seriously or less over the years, and I just started thinking about it again the past couple of days. And I think another thing about me is I kind of live in a survival kind of mode all the time too, and don't want to invest or do anything or that stuff like that. But
right. But you're calling me and you're asking for help, and when you say I don't invest in this, it sounds like you're saying it's so painful I'm ready to do something about it. Am I hearing you right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was fixing to say. I often have regrets, like thinking about this again. I should have done it sooner. I needed to do that, and but I will tell you too, I do feel a sense of anxiety and not trusting that situation, because I've taken a lot of it on my own to do those things for myself, and
all right. Okay.
Steve,
the good news is, just in the little narrative that you've given me, I haven't heard anything that if you do the right work with the right Christian therapist, that you can't come out having some really sound, good relationships, because you'll be healthier inside from all this trauma and loss. I think it's the trauma and loss that causes you to distort maybe who you trust and who you don't. It probably keeps you from reaching out in the ways that you know how, or you could know how. There's lots and lots of stuff that the trauma and loss has blocked and has damaged. So you've got to find somebody you can see every week for a while to get all that processed out, and then to find out. And here's the big thing is, not only do I know that I need good people, but I now have the skills and the wherewithal to find the right people and use them. So, what state do you reside in? I forgot what you told me.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma's a great state. Well, Stacey, do we still have our own call person?
We do have, yes, we have My Counselor online.
Yeah, we have a person online that can connect with you, and they work all over the country. I'm certainly Oklahoma too, and they can find somebody that they vet out that's good. And I want you to commit to that process. And also, I want to get a book to you that I wrote called People Fuel. I mean, your question is the quintessential core of why we struggle with attachment, and I wrote a book about it. And I want to get it to you. I want to sign it to you and get it to you. So when we're done, I want you to give Stacey your mailing address, and I'll have the book ordered. I'll get it for you, sign it to you, and mail it to you. And I will be thinking about you.
So actually, John and Steve, the way you'll do this is you'll go to drtownsend.com and just fill out the contact us form, and that will
Oh,
go
yeah.
to the office, and they'll get that to me so that we can get everything
Yep.
to you. Okay.
Yep. So the homework assignment, Steve, and this is positive because this is all doable. I don't see anything you can't work, is I want you to read the book and I want you to find the right counselor who can start to help you with the principles and the healing you need. All right, buddy?
Okay.
Thanks for calling. All right, man.
Okay. Bye.
You know, I mean, I'm really moved by Steve's story because when a lot of times when people say, I want relationships, I want people that I can trust, that I can be vulnerable with, and it never works out. Your heart goes out to them because they want it. They don't want to like control people. They want to be mean. They just want to be loved and cared for and understood. But yet something in them either doesn't know how to reach out right, or reaches out for the wrong people, or reaches out for no people. And they just stay busy and become workaholics. So Steve, I'm so glad you called. And a lot of people can relate to you about how the relational world has just been awful and empty and troublesome. And it doesn't have to be that way. So,
and even more so when you have so much compounded trauma.
so much.
Okay. All right. Let's move. You have another caller, so we'll move on to them. Caller, you are live with Dr. Townsend on the Dr. Townsend Live Show. Go ahead and tell us your first name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Kristen, and I'm calling from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome to the program. And what's your question?
My question is, how do you deal with self-hatred or learning to like yourself?
It's a big issue. Tell me why you have this question. Let's unpack that a bit.
Well, the latest thing is that me and my boyfriend broke up, and he ultimately chose to be with the person I hate the most.
The person,
so, like,
the person you
my
need
brain,
did you say you need the most?
that I hate the most. He decided to be friends with this person that was tearing us apart versus, stay my boyfriend.
Oh,
And
so a person
like,
that you don't like. He chose a woman you don't like.
it's a guy, but yes.
Your boyfriend chose a guy, and y'all and you don't think that this guy is a very good, safe guy.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. And so like my brain just keeps like a common thing I think about myself is just that I'm not worth being chosen.
Okay. So
I don't know how to deal with it.
no, it's extremely painful when you get abandoned, when you get
Yeah, I have a
basically
lot of abandonment issues.
right, and you get tossed away. And then the first thing a lot of us do, Kristen, we go, I'm the problem. It's me. I'm not lovable. And I'm really sorry. It just sounds very, very painful.
It is.
You said I have a history. I have a history of abandonment.
Yes. I've been tossed around. Just several different, family members have kicked me out throughout the years, and I've chosen bad boyfriends in the past. You and I have spoken before when you did the video chat, but yeah, I have a history of abandonment, and yeah.
Okay. So you sound like you see the pattern, and then sound like there's no surprise, even though you're in a lot of. I mean, I can feel the pain, a lot of pain and hurt right now. Seems to me like there's no surprise to you, like why you're beating yourself up after all this, because that's kind of normal. People that have a history of abandonment, like little kids, Kristen, when things go wrong a lot of times and they're the only they're the only constant in the abandonment. They think, well, there's only one cause for this, and it's me. You know, it has to be me. Like mom, dad, relatives, school, church, whatever, they all were not nice to me. It must be my fault because I'm the only constant. And so that's how children think in kind of their own self-absorbed way. I've got to be the bad guy because otherwise, why would that happen?
Yeah, my parents have told me that there's things with I'm disabled, I'm in a wheelchair. There's things that nobody will ever like love me enough to like marry me and be with me through. So yeah.
I'm so sorry. The very people who were supposed to build a self-image that was healthy destroyed it.
Uh-huh.
So what have you done about this? Have you addressed fixing this, changing this kind of self-hatred piece of you at all?
I do see a counselor, and kind of like when me and him started, when I started seeing him, I was in this relationship, and so like most of it had been focusing on learning, like trying to learn healthy dynamics in this relationship, because there was a lot of like unhealthiness with like the guy's background and stuff. Like the guy's dad was a drunk and he lived with his, dad, and like so there was like stuff that I had never dealt with before. But I did, like in the last few weeks, I have just kept saying I don't like myself and I don't know what to do about it. And so we haven't really delved into it because now we've broken up, and so that just happened a week ago. I have an appointment tomorrow or Friday, excuse me. So to try more, but for the most part, we had just been focusing on the relationship and, what was healthy in the relationship and what wasn't, and, working on communication and that kind of thing.
All right. That's good work. Let me tell you a couple things to bring to the counselor to kind of help accelerate you having less of this pain. All right.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The first one is, this is just kind of the principle of growth, is that when you've got what we call a critical judge, you have a judge, or probably her name is probably Kristen in your head, but you've got a bad judge in your head,
right?
That beats you up. Is the only way that you can fix that is to replace the judge with kind people. So good therapists, good friends, not many, 3 or 4 would do it. Where when you say, Sam broke up with me and I'm beating myself up, then they go, I get it, I understand it. And they give you a new message, which is, yes, you're alone. And we'll see if you did anything to push him away. Maybe I don't know, maybe you did 10% of the work, but 90% of the reasons because Sam's crazy in some way, he chose somebody else and he won't be telling you about that. And so when you get people to tell you, no, we're not idealizing you, Kristen, you're not perfect, you're no angel, no, none of us are, but I think you were wronged. And I think that Sam's really pretty toxic and crazy. That's one little voice that fits in with this Kristen judge that starts to, it's kind of like yeast in a loaf of bread. It starts to come through so that you begin to say to yourself, my judge isn't really right about me. I hate myself, but I have other voices that say, Susie and Beth and all these people tell me it really wasn't all my fault. It was mostly his fault. So you got to get the new voice. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay. The second thing is a lot of times we beat ourselves up because we still need that person. And little kids do this, Kristen. They'll make themselves the bad, codependent spouses do it. They'll make themselves the bad guy to think, well, I still need him. And so if I make myself the bad guy, maybe they'll hear about me and they'll come back. Because if I just say, I don't need this person anymore, I'm going to grieve them, I'm going to mourn them, I'm going to let them go, but I don't need that toxic action, then we're afraid, oh gosh, they'll never come back. And so work with your client, with your therapist on the first thing I said, which was to get the new voices in. But the second thing is to work on what is it that Sam brought to you that you loved. Maybe it's a sense of humor. Maybe he felt secure. Maybe he was somebody you could fix. Maybe he was interesting. Who knows? But figure out what it is about him that you just loved, that you put up with his craziness, and you've got to get that met somewhere else. So I'm going to ask you a question. What was it about Sam that let you put up with a lot of stuff? One thing about his way that you just loved. It was a magnet to you. What was it?
Well, first of all, Sam is the guy that my ex left me for. So, and it,
bad choice. Sorry about that. Let's say we'll call him Dagwood.
Okay, there you go.
Dagwood went to Sam. So what's one? I don't know what I said. What's one thing?
He made me, like, at first feel like we were like a team, and that he gave me someone, at least on my side, that I felt safe communicating with, at least my issues and stuff like that, and he could take care of practical things.
That's huge, Kristen, especially with a disabled person. No wonder. I mean, if he was good at that, it probably made you relax a little bit, not be so afraid of making hard decisions of where your body would. I totally get why he was a magnet. So we're going to start the process. You got your session tomorrow. Let's start the process now. I want you to repeat something after me. We're going to talk to Dagwood, whatever his name. Don't say his name. I want you to say something to me, and I'll tell you what to say. You ready?
I
really loved you.
I really love you.
Love and I really love you. Okay, we'll stick with that. I really love you. And the second thing is, you had a big place in my heart.
You had a big place in my heart.
It's going to be hard to replace you.
It's going to be hard to replace you.
But I'm going to have to do that with other people in my life.
But I'm going to have to do that with other people in my life.
And I don't think your leaving me was my fault.
And I don't think your leaving me was my fault.
I wasn't perfect.
I wasn't perfect.
But this is on you.
But this is on you.
I have no reason to beat myself up.
I have no reason to beat myself up.
So I'm letting you go.
So I'm letting you go.
And instead of judging myself, I'm going to go into a period of mourning and grief.
I'm going to go through a period of mourning and grief.
And that's how I'll let you go.
That's how I'll let you go.
Well done, Kristen.
Thanks.
That's what's got to happen in your session. Start working on that.
Yes, I will.
All right. Thanks for calling.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
You know, we were made for relationship, right? Relationship vertically with God, relationship with each other.
Absolutely.
And it's very, very hard when someone that met needs is wrenches themselves out of our life. It just feels like a gut punch, and we have to grieve them and let them go and not beat ourselves up. Now, this is kind of the training that we do with people at the Townsend Institute. We teach people as leaders. You can get a master's in leadership or a credential. If you want to lead an organization, you can get a master's in coaching or a credential if you want to coach. We got a master's and a doctorate, a credential in counseling. And we teach this as techniques and as theories and as tasks, but also the people skill part. So if you like this approach, if this kind of like, whether it's an organization or a client or a patient, you like helping people and organizations to grow, we're fully accredited in every accreditation you need. We're fully online. Just check us out. We have sessions many times every few weeks where I speak online and people just come in from all around the world online and talk about it. And you can get a great degree. Remember this, if this is your time for education, it's not about education. There's something bigger. It's about opportunity. If you're tired of not having doors open to you, and you feel like you're that career ceiling, and you want to do something that's got your passion, counseling, coaching, leadership, it's an opportunity. We will help you get the doors open for the new career with stuff like we're doing here on the show. Okay, so just check us out. Stacey always puts the link down there. Okay.
Yep, we put the link in the medias, and also everybody that's listening, if you will go to drtownsend.com and be sure to scroll down and sign up for his e-blast. We send out a weekly e-blast with a helpful video. Right now we're on a relational nutrients series, which is part of the four quadrants that is the secret sauce at the Institute. You can learn about that, and you'll never miss any updates for when the show is going live. All right, next caller is up. Caller, welcome to the Dr. Townsend Live Show. You're live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead and tell us your name and
Yes.
your first name only and where you're calling from.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Townsend. My name is Patty, and I am from Orange County. The reason I'm calling,
How do
I
you
just
spell your
wanted
name
to
again?
ask. I'm sorry?
How do you spell your name again?
Okay, it's P-A-R-I. Patty.
Oh, I've talked to you before, Parry.
Of course.
Yes.
I was in your, 2 weeks ago on the 9th, I came and watched you had a seminar. So
Yes.
I follow you everywhere you go. Yeah. The reason I'm calling, that my 31-year-old son, almost 31, he has mental challenges and he's not working, not doing anything, and not going to school. And the thing is, with the holiday coming up, I go to all the classes, everything like NAMI, and trying to educate myself to learn how to deal with him and how to support him. And
Harry,
then
I forgot what is his diagnosis again?
Okay, it's severe OCD and possibly bipolar. But they say mood disorder. And
Okay.
the problem that I am
Did you say that? I can't remember. Did you say he's currently getting treatment for the severe OCD, possible bipolar? He's not getting treatment.
He's not, because he's not cooperating, and he's not. He just living like this. He has given up. He says there
Didn't
is
you
no hope.
talk about him on a previous program?
Not like this. We
Okay,
mentioned
all right.
for something else for the neighbors, something
Okay.
like that.
Is he living at home, Perry?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Got you.
Okay. Then with the holiday coming up and everything, I totally understand. My other son and my daughter, they are very fed up with him. But the problem is that I keep telling them that it's better to show, your unconditional love, like quality time, not that maybe once a month or every 3 months, whatever you choose, just to come or text him at least or call him. But they refuse, and they refuse to see him totally. And that puts me in a very bad situation. I have 2 grandchildren, and I want to go visit them, but then my son is not welcome. And also my daughter even doesn't come to our house because of him. And I understand her part because she has 2 little boys. But at the same time, it's not very dangerous.
If your son was going to therapy, OCD and bipolar are very treatable. So if he was going to therapy and he was getting better, would your son and your other son and daughter say, "Oh, he's different. He's changed. He's happy"? So would they be more likely to visit if he was getting well?
Definitely. Yes, they say they're kind of punishing him. They say he's welcome only if he gets treatment. Otherwise,
right. So tell me how. They sound pretty reasonable about it. There's not being mean. He's just so toxic, and he won't get help. So tell me what the problem is. What problem do you want to solve exactly?
Okay, the problem is my son refuses. Like, I make appointment with a psychologist or psychiatrist, but he doesn't
He doesn't come, and I can't make him go. He
And
doesn't go.
does he work?
No, not at all.
Okay,
He
so
doesn't
what is
work.
it? Does he like play video games or watch TV all day or what?
Sometimes he plays sports like basketball, with just he goes with a group and plays, or he more watch the game. He's very passionate about sport.
Yeah, so I
And
mean,
he watched the
that's what
game.
14-year-old boys do. He's just 31. I mean, who wouldn't want to
Yes.
have that kind of life? I get that. So here's the
That's
question.
right.
Is he contributing money at all to living with you? Does he have money to pay you?
No. Even he just no, nothing at all. And it's very hard to deal with him. And he lost his father when he was 4. So I don't have any support.
When you say, I got a psychologist, I want you to go, what is his reason for not going? Tell me exactly.
He says nobody can help
Wait a
me.
minute, Perry. Wait a
Yes.
minute, Perry. Wait a minute, Perry.
No.
I want to know
Okay,
exactly, Perry, wait. I want to know exactly
Okay.
word for word what he says. I want to get him in my head.
He is close. He doesn't even answer. He says, I'm not going. That's all. That's all. And then I'm not going. Nobody can help me.
And do you say
Too
why?
late.
Do you say why?
He says, I don't want, he doesn't answer. That is, it's very hard to get a word out of his mouth. He doesn't answer. He just leaves, or he tell me, leave the room. He doesn't want, he doesn't interact.
Okay.
All he does.
Perry,
watch the
are you
game.
willing to do some serious things about this?
It's coming to that point. Honestly, I cannot handle.
All right, here is my suggestion.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you a not very severe suggestion. And then if that doesn't work, I have a severe suggestion.
Yes.
Right? The not very severe is, I want you to get help, and I will go with you. I'll pay for the sessions, and I will go with you until you're ready to go by yourself. But you're really struggling, and this isn't working. Now, maybe you being there, I'll drive with you, I'll pay for it, but you need help. Maybe that will make him go. But let's suppose he goes, no, I don't want to talk about it, shuts the door and plays basketball with his friends. You can't shut the door and play basketball because that's inside. So shuts the door and watches TV. Then I would say to him, all right, I can't watch you destroy yourself. And since I can't watch you destroy yourself, if you won't get help, I need for you to move out in 30 days.
Yeah.
And you follow that up and you have him move out. And then he lives with friends on couches and eats pizza and he does the sleepover thing. And then it's kind of like what Jesus said about the prodigal son. When he got tired of living with the pigs, he thought, I've got a parent who loves me. And your son has a parent who loves him, named Perry. And so he gets tired of couch surfing and he says, what would it take to come back and to a warm place with a nice mother who's kind to me and provides me this all? Oh, there's only one requirement. You go to therapy once a week. That's what I would have to do. And I've told many people that, and it works.
Yeah.
And it works an incredibly high percentage of the time.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good luck, Perry. Get some people around you. Get some people around you who love you, because as a mom, it's going to break your heart. But better break your heart and do the right thing than watch him destroy himself. So good luck, Perry. Well, I think we all know what it feels like, whether you're a parent or a grandparent, you're not a parent, but you've got someone in your life that you so deeply care about, and you know the path. All they need is, to make some good decisions, to get some help, to find something else to do that's healthy, and they flip you off. And in so many ways they flip you off and decide to tank their lives. And it's just such a helpless feeling. It reminds me of what Jesus said when he was coming through, Jerusalem on a donkey, and they're putting the palm leaves out, and he cries. He wept. He said, Jerusalem, I wish I could have put you under my wings like a hen does her chicks, but you would not. And that's how Perry feels. That's how we feel. And this is when you've got to do the right thing, but get the support. You cannot do these things in a vacuum because your mind's going to go crazy. Get the support.
Okay, next caller. Caller, you are live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead and tell us your first name and where you're calling from.
Hi, I'm Judy, and I live in Ontario, Canada.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, thanks for
So,
taking this.
You betcha. You betcha. What's your question for today?
Oh my, I guess what I'm wanting to know, and you can ask more questions to kind of get into it a little bit more, but I'm trying to figure out how do I navigate reintegration with my husband after being separated for a year and a half when some of my friends and family are maybe quite reserved and not feeling this.
They're still kind of mad at him and don't want you to be back with him, and so they're not happy about this.
Yeah, they're pretty much very protective of me, hoping I don't get hurt again. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so tell me, you said, how do I do this? Where do you see the problems?
Well, it's happening that he's going to be moving back in like 2 weeks, and I've either maybe been living in denial that it's actually happening, and then not speaking to some of those people about this. And so now I feel like I'm going to be blindsiding them, saying, "Oh yeah, so
whoa! I got all kinds of yellow flags here. I got all kinds of yeah. Okay. Judy, number one, I didn't even ask why it's now okay for him to come back. Had to know it because I need to know that. And secondly, you said I've been in denial and like I haven't brought people in. So I'm going, poor Judy. She maybe something's going on, some negative reality that she hasn't faced, and now she's kind of overwhelmed. So let me start with my first red flag. Well, not red. I'd say it's yellow. How do you know after a year and a half that the time is right? I need some objective reasons besides, he's cool and he's got great hair.
Okay, so two big things. First, I'm following the Lord's leading, and second, everything
How did God tell you that it was after a year and a half that this is the time? How did the Lord speak to you on that?
I think with showing me the changes that are within my husband.
Oh, you've been observing his behavior over the last year and a half somehow?
Yeah.
You're separated, but you're still in a relationship.
Yeah, like it was definitely at the very beginning, like the first 6 months were most certainly not not in a relationship. And then through ways he was able to kind of prove himself, and then I let my guard down in the way of like, okay, I'll watch you a little bit more. You can be a little bit more in my life. And so then over the past probably 10 months, I would say he's been consistently, I've seen that he's given his life to the Lord, and that
what specific behaviors made y'all break up?
It was sexual addiction.
Okay, sexual addiction. Okay, and so you have high confidence that he's no longer watching porn or hookers or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, and where do you get your confidence from? I mean, do you have like access to his passwords, or is there a friend that calls you and says, "I have access to his passwords"? Or are you working on just the fact that he says he doesn't do it? The sexual addiction is, it's such a secret thing that people can get away with murder. So what gives you your confidence?
So I would say definitely his behavior with being like giving up all of his passwords and having me able to look at his phone.
That's a big deal. Okay, so he's given you total access to his tech.
Yep, and his phone. And then also his going from being completely isolated to being very, very connected with his accountability and his support groups and so on.
Okay, good for him. I'm feeling better about this. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, this is good. Also, even he checks in once a week, just saying, how often he reached out, what his prayer life was like, Bible reading. I'm able to see on his phone that what he is saying is.
Okay, these are all good signs. Is he seeing a clinician with a license?
Yes, so he's been seeing a certified sex addiction therapist, and then we're going to be starting couples counseling next week.
Okay, now I'm hearing some things that make me joyful in my head. So you said all the good things these are good signs. You can never get 100% guarantee, but these are pretty good.
No.
So now he's coming in 2 weeks, and a key question I have is, did the sex addiction certified person, because that's the highest trained person in your ecosystem, did that person say that Bill is ready to come back? I need somebody, I don't need Judy saying it. I don't need Bill saying it. Did some authoritative person who really has the training say, I think it's okay?
Good question. I can most certainly reach out to his CSAT because that's a very open thing that we've put in place. So I can most certainly. I have not felt anything different than actually. There's been points where the CSAT is like, okay, we can cut down on the times of counseling, like meetings, because
these are good signs. But Judy, it's sort of like saying, I had a heart attack. And I'm on the meds and everything. And I think I'm feeling okay. I don't think I need the meds. Now, would you ever do that?
No. He has to keep these things in place.
No, that's not my point. That's not my point. You call the doctor and say, can I discontinue my meds?
Oh, yeah. Yep, so I hear you.
CSAT, before he starts coming in and unpacking, you say, well, hold it, buddy. Love you, but I need to have the consult with the CSAT and not what you said the CSAT says. I still have trust issues with you. Love you, but still have trust issues. I need the consult with the CSAT.
Yep.
Okay. Now that's not really not really answering your question you called with. In fact, I kind of forgot what it was because I got. Okay. So, Judy, I'm sorry. What's your question again? How to make your friends love him or something? Something about that.
Well, with him, how do I tell them? And then also you had a second yellow flag where you were like, you've been in denial. You're not talking to other people about this.
Well, yeah, I was concerned about that. Why didn't you tell your buddies? I mean, that's supposed to be your life team and they know everything about you. So, I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Why'd you bail on that?
Well, that's twofold. I have a whole nother support system in place of betrayed wives who totally understand, and they've been along with me through the journey. And so they have.
So your friends that aren't uber close and vulnerable, you haven't told those folks.
They're the ones that don't understand this, because I can totally understand someone else.
Well, they're mad at him and you got betrayed, but they don't have this. They don't have the scoop that your deep friends have.
That's right.
Okay,
Scoop in there.
I can solve this. I mean, we can solve this. I'm saying.
Okay.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. Is I want you to be one of your protective friends. You want to role play it. So you got a protective friend who just hates Bill because she loves you and she thinks it's bad that you would even come back. And I'm going to be the skillful Judy and tell you how to have the conversation with your protective friend. All right? Ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, I'll be Judy and you call, and your name's going to be Samantha.
Yep.
All right. Hey, Samantha.
Hey.
Oh, by the way, you have not told Samantha yet. Okay, ready? All right.
Nope, that's right.
How's life been?
I'm sorry, I missed that. Sorry.
How's life been, Samantha? I haven't seen you for a bit.
Oh, gee, I know. I feel like we've been so disconnected. I feel like so much is happening here. What's new in your life?
Well, I want to know what's new in your life, and I'll get to that. But I got something new in my life. I'll be glad to tell you. Bill and I are getting back together.
And you feel that this is the right thing to do?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. But first, I know that you were with me during all the pain he caused me and the hurt and the sexual brokenness and all that. And so I figured, you probably are going to have some reservations about this because of what he did to me, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What are your, I need to know your reservations because I love you and you've been a great friend. So what are your reservations?
Well, you know that he was a master manipulator. He has lied all of your marriage.
Yep.
How in the world do you know that this is are you sure about this? What if he's pretending?
Samantha, I can't tell you how much I love you for questioning and challenging that. It just shows me again how much you care about me and you're worried about me. So it's a sign of love. Thank you for saying that. And let me tell you what I'm thinking. First thing is, I'll tell you the why, but if this happens, nobody gets 100% guarantee. John Townsend wrote a book called Beyond Boundaries, where you learn how to trust somebody again. And I read that book and all this, but there's 100% because they got choices. So if you notice, because I want you to be in our life, if you notice that you're feeling the stuff he did, the manipulation, the charming, the schmoozing, the lying, and I'm not aware of it, I need to be accountable to you to say, he's doing it again. Would you do me that as a friend?
Oh, for sure. I've got your back.
You do have my back. So let me tell you what I'm
I know.
thinking. And thank you for saying that. Here's what I'm thinking is, it's been a year and a half. And the first 6 months was, I wanted no contact because he bruised me so much. I had to get a lot of healing myself, as you know. But then I'm not sure I told you this, the second part of the story is he got a really good certified sex addiction counselor. And when they're certified, as you know, Samantha, that means they've had thousands of hours of training and they've seen a lot of bills. They've seen a lot of guys just like him who lie, cheat, steal, do sexual bad stuff. He's been seeing him a long time. And also he has gotten an accountability group around him and they love him and they kick his butt and they check on him. He gave me and some of them his passwords, because you know how sex addicts will hide it in their phone, hide it in their laptop, hide it in their desktop. I got all the passwords. And again, maybe there's one device he has, who knows, but just in the main, he is just, I feel like he's been very open and his accountability people who know me are also satisfied that he's a lot better. And also he's come to a closer walk with God, and God is always a healer. And so he's sticking with it, and he's made himself accountable, not to them, but also to me. And so we're going to try it out. Now, this is probation. I want to tell you that, Samantha. If I see this stuff, he's out again, and I'm going to promise you that. So I'm not saying, oh, it's going to be Cinderella from here on out. I'm no pie in the sky person, but I'm going to try it out with him, and he's still accountable, and he's still going to go do all those things to keep him healing. So given that there's kind of a system in place, and I've seen and others have observed that he's faced himself and knows why he's into this and how he got into it and what the path is out. Samantha, does that help at all with your reservations about what's going on?
Well, it helps me see that you're not just walking in blind and just have this unrealistic view of starting over. And I see that it's going to take time to trust again, and that you're not just, blindly trusting. So yeah, I'm still scared that you're going to get hurt. But I'm willing to go alongside with you. Thank you.
And is Samantha a Christian?
Yeah.
Okay. The Bible says, is what?
My brothers aren't, and they're like so protective of me.
Okay. But I only want to talk to one person. Samantha's a Christian, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Samantha, how the Bible teaches us, says in Psalm 139, search me and know me and try my anxious heart and see if there be any hurtful ways in me. I believe God does that and people do that. I would like for you to be one of those people. If you see a hurtful way in me, if you see me denying reality, if you see me making excuses, I am accountable to you to say, hey, girl, I told you, and I'm telling you that's my job, and I will listen to you. Okay. So yeah, we're ready. And, I feel like it's okay. I'd love to spend the time. And you don't have to be, super trusting with him and we go have lunch, you might say, I've still got reservations and I love Judy. That's fine. But at some point, I'd like for the three of us to get together down the line. Are you at all open to that?
I think I'm going to give it a little time just to see how it goes with the two of you. Because right now I don't really want to see him.
Fair enough. Thank you so much. Okay. What was that like? Well, I want you, whenever I do a role play like that, all I want is to get a skill. So what is a couple of skills you picked up that you can use with these friends of yours that you're concerned about?
Well, I feel like what I got from that was not minimizing or not making, or I don't want to come across as not caring about their opinion. And in that role play, you really validated their opinions. And also gave them a place where they are able to speak into your life if they see anything going wonky or some red flags or something down the line. Like,
have you been in therapy?
Oh, yeah.
You have a really good psychological kind of bones in you. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. Those are the things I'm looking for is admitting the reality. It's okay for them to trust, normalizing they don't trust and give them time for that, not making excuses, accountability. You did it all right. And so you picked up what I wanted you to pick up. So I got to go, but thanks for showing us how to do it. And I hope it goes well with your friends, Judy.
Thank you.
All right. That was awesome. That was awesome because she didn't defend it. Well, I didn't, but she's not going to. But she picked up that you don't go, he's a different guy. You got to love him. It's crazy talk. So way to go, Judy. We got time for something else or what? What do you think, Stacey? You make the call. I know we're up at the hour.
Let's see, you have 3 minutes left. So unfortunately, I don't think we can take on another caller, but you did have.
You're saying, this isn't really a 3-minute call show, is it?
No, you did have a question about the Institute, though, that asked if you could just explain a little bit further about what for career advancement. The person says that they're in a leadership administrative career at an accounting firm, and their main, her name is Julie, and she's from New York, and she says, my main job is admin leadership duties here, but how could enrolling in the Institute advance my current career or give me other opportunities?
Well, if all you were doing, Judy, was like doing better subject matter expert work, SME, like being a better accounting or a CFO or whatever, yeah, we can help you with the task, but those are sort of more MBA-ish stuff. Ours is about the people skills and motivating people. So the way people get moved up in the corporate world is some do it because of they have a marketing talent, a finance talent, whatever. But most of them do it because they're good at things and their people skills and how to lead, charge, understand, clarify people's roles, motivate them, but make those people operate at higher levels. That's what we're all about. The way to get ahead and advance in the world of work is to have this people skills that you can take high level people and make them even higher level. And that's kind of what we do. So I hope that helps.
Awesome. What a great show today.
A lot of cool, vulnerable people. I hope it helped.
Absolutely. And so we will remind that there is no show next week, but we will be back with everyone on November the 9th.
See you in November.